So what I'm about to explain to you right now are going to make the things you desire and the things that you've been trying to manifest into your life seem so small, so obtainable, so easy to achieve that it's going to blow your mind. So oftentimes when we're trying to bring something into our lives, we're trying to create something, it seems so far away. It seems so difficult, right? It's like, it seems so outside of ourselves, and we wreck our minds going back and forth trying to figure out how exactly we're going to be able to get these things because we have no association with it. So I'm going to lay out some science that's going to actually help give you a spiritual foundation. But once again, it starts with science. And so for me personally, when I started my manifestation journey, I was not very spiritual, but I was always very into science. And I was the type of person that I needed hard mathematical proof to believe something. I didn't just believe that my thoughts just create my reality, right? So the thing that helped me to start to really get an understanding of the divine power and the universe and how our thoughts affect the world around us was really getting into science. So it's going to be a light science lesson, guys, but just try to bear with me. So first thing that we must understand is that everything in this entire universe is all made out of the same substance. It's made out of literally one substance. So let's go a little deeper into that. We learned this in elementary school, right? That everything in this universe is a bunch of atoms, right? So this cell phone, right? They teach us that it's not a physical, just hard, impenetrable substance. They teach us that if you look at this cell phone under an electron microscope or a microscopic microscope, you will see that it's an accumulation of atoms that are just very tight together. And those atoms are actually vibrating. And the same thing goes for our body. It seems like it's a solid piece of physical mass, but it is not. And this is science, guys. So just try to remember if you've been removed from science for a while. But yes, our body seems solid, right? But if you look at it under a microscope, you will see that it is a bunch of atoms moving around very fast. Okay, so we know that everything in this world is made out of atoms. Okay, and now to go a little deeper into that, there is only 118 elements on the periodic table, which means everything in this entire universe, our entire galaxy, is comprised of 118 different elements. So whether that's oxygen, hydrogen, calcium, phosphorus, etc. Right? So now you start to see that everything is just made up of these raw base materials, raw base matter. And those elements, the 118 elements that comprise everything in our galaxy, like the stars, the sun, the moon, our flesh, this table in front of me, the car that you're trying to manifest, right, is made out of a collection of some of those 118 elements. And all those 118 elements are just arrangements of, now we gotta go a little deeper, right, of not just atoms, but in those atoms, it's different arrangements of electrons, protons, and neutrons. And those are the small subatomic particles that, make up an atom. And then there's a certain amount of electrons, protons, and neutrons in each atom, etc. So now we see, guys, that if you break everything down into its most fundamental, level, if we get deep into everything that we see, everything around us, including this invisible oxygen and hydrogen that you can't see, right? Even this is made out of atoms. This invisible air that seems to be around me, I can't see it. I I can't really feel it, but it's atoms. It's atoms. My body is atoms, and it's all just different vibrations, essentially. It's different combinations and different frequencies of vibrations of subatomic particles. So that's enough about the science aspect, but what does that tell us? That tells you that you are 100% connected to everything that you're trying to manifest, right? And not only that, but you are connected to everything in this entire galaxy. And when I say connected, I don't mean just like from a spiritual level you're connected. Also, physically, we are connected. So, for example, if you look at me sitting here in this room, in this living room, and right on this chair, this house, if you broke it down or looked at it from an atomic microscope, you will see that I'm just a collection of atoms vibrating at a certain rate, and this air around me is a collection of atoms vibrating at a certain rate. This hat on my head is a collection of atoms vibrating at a certain rate. Everything is just atoms, right? It's all the same. So we are literally physically connected to everything in this universe. That's why it is called the universe, right? Uni meaning one, I guess verse you could break down to song or, whatever. So, but uni is one. Everything is one. So this is pure, undisputed science, right? That everything in this world, we're just a bunch of vibration of atoms. So this allows us a couple things once we really, really comprehend this knowledge and we really sit back and ponder it. Because they teach us that, but you don't really think, like, you hit your hand on a table, it hurts. This table is made out of granite, it's solid, it hurts, right? But it's not solid. It's literally atoms, protons, electrons, neutrons, vibrating at a very high frequency. So, once again, this gives you now a understanding, and it also heightens our level of awareness and perception. And when we're trying to manifest our goals, perception is so important. So once you start to see that also the money that I'm trying to bring into my life, into my reality, is also just a collection of energy. It's a collection, right, of electrons, protons, neutrons. It's just atoms. It's what it starts to do is you start to see the things that you want is so much smaller, and we see how much more in control of our life we are, and how much like what we're trying to manifest is not really that big of a deal after all. Like, it's not so crazy. It's not some, like, if you want a mansion, let's say, it's not some grand like physical thing that's so outside of yourself, that's so hard to achieve that you can't fathom and you can't comprehend. Like, how could you not comprehend a collection of molecules, particles? That's all it is. It's particles vibrating at a certain frequency. So the Lamborghini you want or the Ferrari you want is not, oh my God, it's a $500,000 car. No, it's just a collection of atoms, right? So now you're changing your awareness, you're changing your perspective. And of course, when you change your perspective, I mean, it also creates a placebo effect in the mind, I guess you could call it, where you start to just realize like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just energy. It's just energy. And once you see that everything that you, and this is also, guys, this is a scientific term. It is physics that, right? This is one of the laws of physics, that everything is energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So now you're not seeing stuff, it's like I said, some grand, hard to achieve, like crazy goal that's so unfathomable. It's just, you're seeing it as energy. And the other thing that does is now you are more aware of the power that we have to manipulate energy. Literally anything we do, we are manipulating energy. When we walk to the refrigerator, we're taking this mass of energy or atoms, right? Subatomic particles, and we're moving it around. Or when we pick up the phone and make a phone call, we're literally manipulating energy, everything we do. So, and how do we do that? With our minds. Now, granted, those are very minor and crude manipulations of energy that people do every single day, but you understand, you think a thought and you make it happen. So say if you want an apple, you think I'm hungry or I have a craving for a piece of fruit. You go to the store, whatever, pay $1, you get an apple. So you just manipulated energy to achieve something you wanted, and it started in the mind with our thoughts. Now, obviously, an apple is a much smaller amount of energy, right? It's small, it's the amount of atoms, electrons, neutrons, protons is much smaller, of course, than, say, a $4 million mansion. $4 million mansion is much bigger, it's much more expensive, more money went into creating it, more time, more manpower, more energy. So, of course, something that has more energy is going to take more mental thought, more mental activity, or more mental energy to bring into your reality. But the fundamental concept is the same. You think a thought and you manipulate energy. So this is now giving you a different level of awareness, a different perspective on attaining your goals, and a different perspective of reality creation. You start to see stuff much, much smaller than you once thought it was. This is an extremely strong tool for removing limiting beliefs that we have that are, deeply rooted in our subconscious mind or even in our conscious mind when we just think something's hard to attain. It's all about paradigm shift, guys, right? It's all about changing the way you view things. So, of course, if you're trying to bring something into your life that you've never had before, or that no one in your life that you know has ever had before, you obviously see it as hard to accomplish. You see it as so difficult, you don't know how you're going to achieve it. So we must change our perspective, change our viewpoint, change the way we see the things we want. And that is one of the foundations of how we create our reality and how we achieve things and accomplish things and get the things that we've never had before. You have to change the way you view them, right? That's also just psychology 101 too. And so, like I said, now that you're changing the way you view things, you're changing the way you think, that's how you attract the things that you want into your life. So remember also, when you think a thought, once again, this is science, guys, so I'm not even going into any type of spirituality, because obviously this goes way, way, way deep. It gets so much deeper. But even just thinking about things on a scientific level is, and if you really, really sit back and ponder it, it's really a first start to getting enlightened. And it's so amazing that we have science on our side to help us literally understand the world, the universe, and then it gets into quantum physics, and that's a whole nother segment of information that I may go into later, or I'm sure I will. But when you think a thought, your brain is creating electrical signals, right? You can see this. We have machines to read brain scans, brain activity. Every time we think a thought, electrons in our brain is firing. Those are small charges of electricity, right? We are electrically charged beings. That's just science, right? And so you have to think about what is electricity. Once again, electricity is energy. Electricity also is at a certain frequency. That's why we have certain wattage. If you see a light bulb, maybe it's 60 watts, 120 watts, right? If electricity is all about the vibration, guys, the rate of frequency of the electricity, the energy. So now, once we constantly start to build an image, we're creating electric signals, and we're also in our mind rearranging the atoms, the raw materials of the universe, and we're creating, a physical reality. And now that you see that you're not just physical like you are, but you're just atoms, and everything you want is atoms, and everything around you is atoms, and you close your eyes and you think a thought, you're rearranging the atoms around you in your thought, but you're also rearranging the atoms around you in your physical reality as well, because it's all the same. now you start to shift the way you view things. You don't just see yourself as a physical body thinking a thought, because your thoughts are electricity. Electricity is atoms, electrons and protons and neutrons, and so is your body, and so is the things that you want, right? So now you can sit back from a different viewpoint and you can start to manifest that way. So I hope you found this video helpful, but I really want you guys to sit back and maybe you could even do a little research. Start to research what an atom is, what an electron is, protons, neutrons. See and just affirm to yourself and confirm to yourself that, wow, everything in the universe is made out of these raw base material, and all you're doing is taking this raw base material and manipulating it with your mind. And that's what you do when you visualize and you close your eyes and you create your own reality. So this is fundamental in reality creation, but like I said, to have this firm scientific foundation and scientific thought, it takes all the mysticism and mystique, out of manifestation. Because a lot of people will just say, you create a vibration and you attract it just through the universe, which also is true. But if you don't have any science, and maybe you're not religious, or you're not very, spiritual, or you don't believe in things that you can't see, and you don't believe in things that can't be measured in a laboratory like I used to be, then having this scientific knowledge as a foundation is extremely helpful. So guys, just now you can sit back and think about this. When you close your eyes, you can now start to see things as vibrating particles of energy, and not just the car that you want to get. You see it as just atoms moving around. You see yourself as atoms moving around, and you can now change your perception of how you view energy and how you view the world. And obviously that's opening you up to a different dimension of thinking, right? And so now you have a different perspective of imagination, of imaging, of thought. So yeah, guys, that's just a tool that I found very helpful, scientific foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find it helpful, and I will see you later.